guys. This should be about hopefully just over 30 minutes. Wish I could do it shorter, but I am trying to sprue paint basically 126 Perry plastic French infantry in one go. I've sped it up. We're pretty quick mode, as you can tell here. I am not on methamphetamines. I can't paint this fast. The purpose of this video is one, I was asked to kind of show my method for trying to mass produce troops, and if anyone can be blamed for basically making this possible for me, or whatever who I copied for, excuse me, would be Henry Ford. Just trying to implement a mass production method to get as many troops on the table as possible. I am blessed to have a large gaming table, so I kind of really love having huge battles on the tabletop. Probably if I would have known when I got into Napoleonics, well, I guess there was no epic size when I started. There was 6mm guys, but I really this was the first really venture for me. I did a little bit of bolt action, but Napoleonics is what I was always going after. That was the end goal. So I just thought 28mm was it. I didn't consider it. I was such a noob into the hobby. So I started off with 28mm, and before I know it, it was too far to turn back. So that's where I'm at, and I think I have over 3,000 28mm Napoleonic troops. I think I had a goal in mind when I started this project of where to stop, and it's I think that goal is gone, come and gone. So I don't know how big it'll be. At some point, I'll know. Hey, I can't get all these guys on the table, or if and when I do move up to the attic, my attic of my house, I plan on getting another 7-foot by 5 table to try to push it up to a 20-foot long, 7-foot wide table. Yeah, I'll be ready for that then. That's going to be ridiculous. So enough of that. So this is my method for getting as many guys done as quick as possible to get another French brigade onto the table. Once, as I said before, these are Perry Plastics. Great kit. I'm sure you guys are all familiar with it better than I am, but yeah, I love it. So this, I am basically hand priming using Vallejo paints. There was no point really doing anything else because with Legere, thankfully, they are. I decided to go with this dark blue uniform I found on an Osprey book. So went ahead and painted all of the bodies, all of the arms, with that dark blue. I think moving on now to backpacks and muskets by just having all of these sprues lined up. For me, it works well. It is a bit monotonous, but the end justifies the means. So doing all the backpacks in brown, getting the muskets, of course, and just hammering them out. Best you can. It doesn't matter if you get a little bit over here because you're going to continue to touch up on this stuff as you go along and try to make it look prettier. As you see this time flying by for me. That's only 2 hours of work so far. I'm moving along. I started off. I left off the skirmish sprues, and I left the ones with the elite companies, and I left off the officer and the command sprues. I was just doing the main sprues for this. So what I do like about sprue painting is I sometimes struggle to get into the details. So once you have glued these guys together, everything's more exposed with this. You can get more into the sides of their legs, underneath their arms. You can get little straps before you put the arms in place and the backpacks in place. And although a lot of the stuff gets covered that you do paint, some of it actually does. You can peek through, and you don't have to worry about trying to get into that nooks and crannies, which is It's difficult for me. There is a little somebody kind of reaching with the nippers there, or clippers, whatever word you like to use. On these particular sprues, there's one bayonet that always has a little bubble at the top. I don't know. It's a flaw, but it's a minute flaw in my opinion. But I always zip that off with on every single sprue I go through. I just kind of get that so I don't have to get it later. So sometimes you'll forget, and when you go to paint the bayonet, you're like, oh, you got to trim it off real quick. So just trying to remember as I move along, get a little routine going here, and you can just crank it out. I can't remember if I said it earlier, but the main point of this is to one, I have more allied units right now, so I was trying to make a big rush into getting some more French onto the table to try to even up the sides. I like to play a level playing field for most of these battles, and if I'm not big on not being fair. It's difficult enough as a solo player to try to shift and to play evenly on both sides. You still have the dice that control things, but so then I just try to make the same number of units on each side. So I don't have to worry about points then and all that stuff. So I don't know. That might be just a character flaw of mine, but it works and I like it. It does suck if you're attacking an objective, because I like to have all my units on the table. I don't like leaving anybody behind because I enjoy a massive game. So it does get difficult if you're attacking. Because I think they always said you have to have 3 times more troops to have a successful attack. But whatever, it's no big deal. This was difficult, and at some point I'll have a slide. I think at about 3/4 of the way through this video, I kind of realized it's going to take me even longer to have this done, because I think it's coming up on 10 days or 2 weeks since I had a video go out. Maybe it's 10 days. And I did do that short just to let people know I was still alive. I try to have at a minimum every 7 to 8 days. I try to put something out, just because I think it's one. I love posting videos and I love interacting with you guys, and you just don't want to lose momentum. It isn't about the money for me for YouTube. I mean, I know this. If you haven't monetized your account, or if you're not familiar with it, I mean, if you make $30 or $40 a month from a channel of my size, you're doing all right. So you definitely can't retire on this. This is just something. So for me, it's basically just something that my wife doesn't get aggravated, because I get $40 or $50 a month, and I can buy some miniatures, and I can go, hey, I'm self-sustaining. I'm paying for my hobby. I'm not spending money I made at work. So that's her work. That's her money. All the money I make at work is hers. So this way it's self-sustainable. Plus, as you grow your account, and you get more and more videos on there, these things will, people will continue to watch your old stuff as you go along. So we're at the 4-hour end mark. I think this actually goes till, I think it took me like 11 or 12 hours of total working on it time. You can see my outfits change as the days go by, because I get home from work, bang out a little bit, get up in the morning, get up a little early before the kids, and get an hour of painting in. I'm just trying to squeezing it around my work schedule. Been a lot of insano projects at work, so as everyone else is busy, it's just this is a little side thing. I'm really looking forward to the day, probably 12, 13 years from now, when I can retire and I can just kind of do this full time, because that's going to be an absolute blast for me. I can actually work on my base game then. I'll probably mention that later on when I do bases. My base game is not good. It's more. By the time I get down to the base, I'm like, I don't care. I just want to get these guys on the table. I'm excited to play with them, so I just I do a quick base. A lot of you guys, when you're having your bases, the base almost tells just as good a story as the miniatures themselves, and it's so awesome to look at. But I'm just kind of like that's when your hobby becomes, that part of your hobby becomes the art almost, in my opinion. I'm really just trying to get a whole bunch of troops on the table, and I'm more about the miniature wargaming than anything for me. I am quite aware of the limitations of my artistic and painting ability. I'd rather be artistic and have a good story or a good or presentation of a good battle report, or have some funny jokes in there. That's more artistic for me. That's more my wheelhouse than making the Mona Lisa of a battalion. So I'm not an artist. So enough of that. I think where are we at now? I think we're doing. Are we still doing guns? Oh my gosh! What a war here. We're just charging forward here. I think we sped it up a little bit here just to try to keep the video a bit smaller. I can't even tell what the heck I'm doing. I'm looking at a small screen while I'm overviewing this voice, because I think I was listening to music the whole time just to try to get into the zone. So it's harder for me to see what's up, and I don't want to make this screen any bigger because I don't want to lose the timeline on Filmora. Okay, now we're going into like flesh and stuff like that. I'm doing the faces on the hats. I chose or faces on the head, excuse me. I kind of I'm focusing on having so it's going to be 4 brigades of 4 battalions of 32. I do 32 man as my standard unit for my Napoleonics. On the far right of each battalion is going to be like a company of 4 grenadiers. So I'm going to use the grenadier hat that's on this sprue. On the other end will be the Voltigeur, or the Voltigeur company. And on the elite company sprue in this kit, there are 4 heads on each one, or 4 or 6 heads on each one with the big plume up front. I don't know what the heck that hat's called, but I'm utilizing that. So there will be, in this build of 126, there will be 16 grenadiers, and there will be 16 of the voltigeurs, and they'll have the uniforms with the briquettes on the back, with the like that's what it's called, the sword and the bayonet on the back hip. There's 2 of them that are different on each sprue compared to the other 3, and then I just utilized 3 of the heads that I like, basically, on just that are a little bit semi-fancy, just to give the unit a little bit of class. Nothing too insane here. Just a little bit of flesh-colored paint. When you guys mostly paint, you'll see like speed paints, and I'll do this color first to bring out this color, and you get this multi-layered and it looks beautiful. Just real basic stuff here, and then usually a wash, and then a little bit of highlight. And the one step you have to do, and you'll see it later on in the video, is whenever you sprue paint, and then when you clip them off the sprue, on this particular sprue, the backpacks develop a spot that needs to be touched up after the fact, and the top of some of the hats will need to be touched up. But for the most part, all the snippet points, basically, of where you cut away the miniature, you don't see them. So this is a great sprue for sprue painting, because it is a bit disheartening to get your guys all painted. You've done all this work, 10, 12, 14 hours of work, and then you assemble them all, and then you have to go back and basically touch up half the model again, or the miniature, excuse me, to cover up all the points where you clipped away. So this particular one does hide everything rather nicely, except for the backpack, and it's not really an issue to go back and put 2 little things of paint on each side of everybody's backpacks. You'll see in the video, it goes by pretty quick. Just doing the red here on the uniforms, on the tails of their jackets, their epaulets, and their like the wrists, basically. and the neck on these guys. And just trying to follow what the picture was, so they actually from a distance they look, like voltigeurs. Sorry, like Legere. Excuse me, I got that voltigeurs in my head. Going now on into the black parts, and then with the black, well, basically this is a glossy black from Vallejo again. That's all only colors, only paints I use. I have a Hobby Lobby right down the road, so it's very convenient for me just to walk down there and grab the color paints I need and walk out. I don't have to wait on shipping or anything, and they kind of know me when I walk in there. So they've got my paints, they've got my trees, they've got a couple things that I need and everything else. Definitely, they have a really crap selection of brushes, so I have to buy my brushes online. These are all like Winsor Newton brushes, Series 7. They're just they seem to survive a lot longer, and I am kind of brutal on them with my technique, so it does wear out a brush, so I try to keep them alive. I use a lot of brush soap. I don't know if you get a picture of that at some point here. That stuff works great too. Getting the hats all black, the cartridge case is black, the briquettes are black, the bayonet sheaths are black, and the shoes, I think. So just touching all of those points with this. And I'm sipping on tea as I do this. While I was painting, I highly recommend. I'll have links to this in the description. I watched the Two Fat Lardies, Rich and David Brown have like they did for the original General Day Armée. They have a little tutorial with like it's 4-part, I think it is. The first 3 parts are going over the rules, and then there's gameplay. I think 2 videos of turn of half the game, and the second video is the latter half of the game. Phenomenal. If you haven't watched those, please do. Very enjoyable, because I'm while you're tied up painting, you need something to listen to, which music is always great too, but it's always fun to listen to a podcast or listen to a kind of sneak peeks over at a miniature war game. That's kind of what I'll usually when I'm painting. I'm always watching people's channels and listening to people's channels and sneaking over on a funny point, rewinding, and then if I'm gaming, I can't do that, otherwise I'll get distracted. But those are great. Check Your Leader TV. I can't remember that guy's name. I think he's Australian, but he's phenomenal. He's got a great channel, and he's doing a boot camp for General Day Armée too. So enjoying the heck out of that too. So absorbing as many rules as I can, and then when I come up back upstairs when I need a break, I'm reading my copy of the General Day Armée. So when I finally get these done, I should be able to play. It's a lot less excuse me, chart intensive than the original version, which was a bit of a struggle in the first one. So I'm feeling like this is a massive improvement. Sometimes people do a 2nd edition or a 3rd edition or whatever edition, and you're like, oh god, why'd you change it? It's perfect. This one, from what I can tell before I play it, these are great changes. I think this is going to make the game that much better. And the only kind of bummer I've got is the artillery caissons. You can have a marker to cover them, but at some point I have to get the miniatures for that. It's a pretty important part of the game, and I want to have them. So I don't mind having 1 or 2 for each side, and then putting like a marker on them if they get 2 uses or something like that. But at least want to have one model of a caisson for each side, and I'll get that from the Perry Miniatures, from Perry Brothers. So yeah, that's something I'll have to buy at some point. I think I do have some plastics caissons, the smaller ones. I could use those at first, but those I like that big model, so I'm gonna get that at some point. I have enough miniatures to play a a core level game. So that's what we're going to be doing. I've got to finish up. I got a new. The Warlord has the name model that I think he looks kind of like a midget. The way it was sculpted out, he was tiny. So it ended up kind of bothering me enough where I basically just got rid of the dang thing. And I went out and bought the Perry's medal, Nay, and I have Perry's Salt as well. So they'll be my two French Corps commanders, and then I have the two British commanders too. And I'm drawing blanks right here, so you apologize. It's been a long week, but the two gentlemen from Waterloo. If I remember later on, I'll randomly say them. I can't think of it right now. I'm just trying to forget about it. And of course, then you've got Napoleon and the Duke of Wellington as your overall CNC for both sides. I will continue my fictional 1814 campaign or 1815 campaign. It's the premise behind it is Napoleon returned back to France and did not immediately move out to attack the British and the Dutch. He kind of held back and built up his troops, and maybe he had a couple of his old allies have returned to help him, which he was all French there at the end, I think, from what I've seen and read. And I really kind of got into that just because of Mike Deslorey's generosity. He donated a lot of different nations that I didn't have for the Allied side. Now I have Russian troops, I have some Prussian troops, and I have some Austrian troops. And then he sent me a lot of plastic boxes that were unopened because he's going to 6mm. So he went out and purchased all these things, and he's like, you can sell these if you want to. I'm like, no, I'm going to use them because I don't have to buy them. So now I'm just going to have Austrian, Prussian, Russian, and British and Hanoverians for my allies. So it's I'll just kind of spin my story to get there. So it's a problem, but it's not a bad problem to have. I think getting free miniatures is never a bad thing in my opinion. So I am not looking forward to painting Austrian white a lot, but we'll get it done. It'll be fine. And at some point, I guess what scared me away, I had some stormtroopers to paint for. I was going to try Legion. I still want to at some point, and I just couldn't get into it. So I got to get those painted at some point. Just painting the green at the base, just so it'll blend into the grass that I'm going to put on at the end here. I apologize if that startled anyone. That's crazy, that sound effect. I love it though. It's kind of it's very cinematic. As you see here, I think I mentioned earlier in the video that at some point I was like, no, this is taking way too long, and literally the video recording and editing was kind of slowing me down. So I switched over and put a good a little over half of the bases to the side and just powered out on these guys to get 36 guys done, just so you still show the process and not make a video that's 15 hours long of just getting the gray on top of the sleeping rolls and the great coats that's rolled up on top of the bags of the backpacks of all the French soldiers here. Got the green done at the bottom, as I said earlier, and this is just touching up on the gray. It's kind of, when you get down to these little detail points, it goes a lot faster. It's kind of nice. You can have a sprue in your hand and get it out of your hand pretty quickly. I think the best one, the most rewarding one, was the canteen. I was like so excited. Those things like bang 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 bang, and get them all done. Now we're doing the flintlocks basically and the bayonets on the rifles, and they have that one backpack that has on this sprue, if you're familiar with it, that has like a little pot, like a cooking pot on the back of it, and of course and then the handles to the small briquette short sword that the grenadiers and the voltigeurs have on their back left side, getting that on both sides. With the what do I use? I think it's like a gunmetal gray, or it's a oily steel. I think is my favorite color. I really got into that when I started doing medieval guys. So I used gunmetal gray for a while. I was like, it's not the best, and the oily steel really is a bit more pop for me from the Vallejo paint, so I like it a lot. So my plan for the weekend is basically engross myself. Hope I can find some great videos to watch. And I watch a lot of was it Epic History TV too, or something like that. Is that what it's called? I can't remember. I like that guy's voice, and he's got a great channel. There's a couple of good history channels that are kind of really fun to watch or listen to, and plus you learn something. But I'll be doing that, and I'm just basically going to. I think the weather's supposed to go to crap this weekend, so it's perfect for me. So I'm just going to finish up the rest of these sprues that I got to do and get them all done now that I don't have to worry about filming. This has always been, I've done, if you didn't remember, I've done this one time before. I think I painted 2 units at once or something like that. It was something easy, and compared to this. And I accidentally erased all of the base materials of the filming. I was very upset because it was a good 10 hours of recording, and I just accidentally just destroyed it. So I deleted it completely. So it took a minute to get back to doing this. My wife actually suggested I do this video, and then a couple other people said, "What's your process?" So here it is. I hope it's not too painful. I mean, I sped it up as quick as possible to try to make this as short as possible while still not making it too fast where you can't even tell what the heck's going on. So it's a fine line to accomplish. Doing the white here, getting the cross belts, getting the slings to the muskets. That was, and this is tedious, and my hands shake a little bit too if I have too much caffeine on board or done too much. So it's kind of like, trying to get this perfect. I have to go back and touch up a few of these just to make them look a little bit more not too thick or not too thin. This is where a good brush really comes in handy. I definitely have to go back and touch up things where I kind of went over a little bit here. So I guess so this will be the toughest part when I do the other 60 guys or whatever it is left or something. More than that, I think it's like 70 guys. So yeah, that's going to be real fun. But it's probably it stands out the most. It kind of really finishes off the models, and it makes them look really the part. So I do have a whole weekend of this to look forward to, of getting these done. I do have a bit more reading to do. I'll probably go back and watch more of Dave Brown and Rich Too Fat Lardy's tutorials and introductions to General des Armées 2, just to try to catch some more rules that I might have missed when I was reading, and just try to get it all in my noggin to make it as smooth as possible when I start playing. I think when Alex did his flip through, he had a very good point. You could almost read the quick reference sheet and learn to play. That's pretty good when you can have a quick reference sheet that basically you don't even have to read the rules. Maybe go back and reference a couple things every so often, but you can almost learn to play by doing that. I've seen that on a couple rule sets, and that's pretty cool. So I think that is definitely a sign of a good reference sheet. And it's I think it's like 2 pages, so it's not like you're referring to a 16-page quick reference sheet, which is you would no longer consider quick a long reference sheet. So yeah, I think the French have won the last two battles of my little fictional campaign. I haven't added any more allied troops on to my orders of battle. This has just been 4 French battalions. I did. This is a funny story from Graham at GMB. I have had multiple emails with him. I ordered some flags from him in just after, maybe on Christmas Day. And I've emailed them like, "Do these things come back to you, or have you seen them?" Because they hadn't got here. And as I'm recording this, it's April 15th or 16th, right? The 15th, sorry. They arrived yesterday. So they were postmarked the 29th of December, 2023. And they're airmail. I don't know if they came over by like a Chinese weather balloon or spy balloon, but they got here yesterday. So that's a good, almost 4 months. That's a long plane flight. I don't know what happened. Sorry, I have another sip of tea, keeping the vocal cords moving here. So that was a long time. So that's not on him. I think that's just the nature of the beast. Bacchus, when I order stuff from them, I sometimes forgot what I ordered. I have to go back on their website because they take a long, long time to get here too. And it seems to be very random. I've had like 2 things from them that have come like snap your fingers, and then usually it's over a month. We're talking 6 weeks to get to Kentucky. So then I order something from Charlie Foxtrot Miniatures, and it gets here in like the next day. It feels like it's insane. Perry's get here really fast too, which is great. I don't know if they know somebody at the post office or not, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, enough of that. Sorry. So I've got my flag, so I'll be able to flag up my Russian battalions that were naked in the last game. I did buy one of the Duchy of Warsaw new plastic miniature box sets from Perry. I've got that. I'm going to buy another one of those. I really want to have a Polish brigade, so I'll have 4 battalions of Polish infantry, including the 2 Vyscha Legion. Then I'll have 4 Swiss and 4 Italian. So that'll be the foreign stuff for the French. So we'll have to see just how many units of the stuff that Mike D gave me. And there's still a lot of stuff down there that got blown to pieces in the boxes that kind of got drop kicked on their way here. Of guys I can put together. So yeah. So once I get to an even point here, I'm going to count up for the next game and see if I have an even number of battalions when I get done. I have another Russian Perry box too I got, and this is the fully assembled guys. Sorry, it's sped up, so it's even worse cinematography than I usually do. It's like an old 9mm or whatever it's called, like 10mm movie. Yeah, this is just touching up the backpacks. So if I have an even number of infantry battalions for both sides, I'm going to run into cavalry really quickly. I want to do a Polish Guard Lancer squadron. I need to do French Dragoons. I'll probably do King's German Legion, Light Dragoons, and then I don't know what I'll probably do something from the Austrians or Russians or Prussian, maybe Uhlans or something like that. Give them a little bit of a Lancer option for the British cavalry. Yeah, I think I'll be able to once I know I'm more familiar with the rules for General d'Armée. I'll basically know. I want to explore all the rules as I said before, so I'll see what some kind of modifiers they have besides Guard. I know Lancer was one of the modifiers. So here they are all assembled before I do the wash. Agrax Earthshade from love the stuff. I know it comes out a little shiny, but I'm not too worried about that because I use The Winsor and Newton matte varnish at the end, a spray, which you'll see at the end, the professional one. I've only been burned by it once. I think that was a mistake made by me. And it works really good. I know a lot of guys hand varnish, but at this point I'm like, oh, I'm done. I don't want to do it anymore. Just kind of washing them, trying to make sure it's not too much. Touch them all over the place. Just try to make sure it's everywhere, but it's not too much in anywhere. And it really kind of brings out the models, facial expressions, and shows some shadowing. It's I didn't even know about this stuff when I started the hobby. So Travis did a tutorial from Tabletop CP of painting British and French Napoleonics, and that's kind of where I learned a lot of my stuff to kind of get it done. And now we're just kind of doing the bases, which please don't use me for a base tutorial either. I just do a little bit of a flock around the edges, and I use static grass from the War Painter to just kind of add a little bit of dimension, a little bit of fun to the bases. But this really just wood glue with a brush that I keep submerged in water so it doesn't get destroyed, and I just use the same brush over and over again. I actually have a plastic bottle full of water, and when I get done I put the brush in there, and just kind of keeps it from turning into a complete glued together disaster. So works really well. It preserves it. It's kind of, I always put my static grass on a piece of paper so I can basically don't lose any. There's a little picture of the Army Painter static grass. It works well. Just let that dry overnight, which you might see. I think I have a little slide here. It says that. Yep. I went to work. Came home this afternoon. There's that Winsor Newton matte varnish, the professional stuff. It's great. I use proxy models for my bases. I don't know if that works for everybody. I kind of found them on Amazon, and that kind of works for me. I get them all done, and then take them over to my little piece of cardboard and spray the models from all four sides and let that dry, and then that's it. So I'll show you what the finished product looks like, and then I'll get the rest done, and I hope this video is good. All right, you guys are awesome. I hope you enjoyed it.
There it is. Tabletop ready. Definitely not going to win any painting competitions or anything, but recognizable as French infantry, or French light infantry, I should say. I'm happy. All right, well, that's how I do it. Now I'm going to go do it without a recording at the same time, so I can speed up even faster. I wish I could paint like I did in that video, like I didn't have to speed it up. I could go that fast. That would be awesome. Probably a heart attack. But that's it. I hope that was good. I hope my ramble wasn't too much rambling or too ramblish. And I'll get these the other 2/3 of these guys done as quick as possible, and then finish up the command parts and everything else. And I'll be mounting my flags I got from GMB onto my Russian troops, and I got that something else. I can't remember what I ordered. I ordered this like on Christmas Day, so I can't remember what's in there. I haven't even opened the envelope yet. I'm still kind of shocked it even got here, but that's not it's not Graham's fault. He's a phenomenal vendor and phenomenal flag maker, and he's hooked us, many of us up, and especially me, and nothing but love for the man. Just wish he lived in Kentucky. He probably doesn't, but that's cool. Okay, that's them. Yeah, that's how you sprue paint really quickly. And I've got at least I've got the ones, the other, this is what, this is 32 guys. I've got like 3 more over there, so 35. So I got about 90 more guys over there, but they are already at least over half painted. So that's nice to already have that. It makes it a little bit easier now. I've got some of it done, so that works out well. Kind of feels like I get to walk downhill the rest of the way. It's just the little stuff now. Like getting the muskets and the bodies all painted is kind of the worst part. So, all right, charge straight ahead. it's all just trying to get to that GDA game as quick as possible. And it's going to be nice having these light infantry. I do have to make a count of how many skirmishers I have, because you've got to be within the rules for that. I don't know, but I'm thinking the stuff that Mike sent me, I think there'll be extra guys I can actually get out of those that blown apart boxes and get skirmishers out there and get them on the battlefield as well. And then when that's all done, hang on, let me pause and I'll show you this stuff. I'll probably show this in another video, but this is what else Mike sent me. It was in that box. He's a ridiculous gentleman. So I've got all this stuff to put together. So this is all Allied stuff. I forgot there was Portuguese and Hanoverians in there as well. I don't even know if I'm gonna do more Highland guys. I'm just like, oh gosh. And Victrix boxes are like the nemesis. They're difficult because they're just tougher to paint for me. So we'll see. But yeah, so that's it. I got to convert all that into things like this at some point. And at least I don't have to buy any more Allied stuff at all. And get some more troops on the table. This could be painting a lot of French for me until I can have an even number for both sides. So this is another 500 guys probably. I can't even do the math in my head. It's nuts. This is around 600 miniatures. I just kind of did a quick count real quick. That's ridiculous. Off to finish up those. And yeah, I hope this was decent. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. And we will talk to you soon. You guys are awesome, man. Keep on doing what we love. I just love watching your guys' videos. And you guys are all awesome. And thanks for being part of our community. Take care, guys. Bye.